Today is Thursday, October 2nd, 2025. Welcome back here to Weather on the Go for what is left of my cold, so I apologize for my voice throughout the video. We are going to be looking here at your short-term weather forecast across the United States as we have dry weather for now, but I think more storms are going to be coming to the picture as we go deeper into the week here, and then especially in the next week with a recurving typhoon potentially, or I guess a hurricane in the East Pacific. They don't call them typhoons apparently in the East Pacific. So that's what we're going to be looking at, and we're going to be looking at the Atlantic side as more development is possible in the coming days. So make sure to like the video, give it a thumbs up if you like it, share it with a friend, family member, and on social media, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel so you stay up to date on the latest weather information across Canada, the United States, the tropics. That's what we cover here on the channel. What we're dealing with here today is a big ridge of high pressure across the southern United States, and it's going to be flexing its muscles as we head into the early part of this weekend into the eastern part of the United States. And this is going to allow for some abnormally warm conditions to finally start to trickle further to the east, but also north, right? This is abnormally warm for areas like Chicago, Des Moines, Omaha, and Minneapolis, St. Paul, as we have more 80s expected this afternoon. But watch as we go into tomorrow, record highs where you see boxed out in white. That's where we could be seeing low 90s entering the picture up here into portions of Iowa, into Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois. And then if that's not the case, look how widespread those record highs are in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Illinois as we go into Saturday. So that's what we're going to be dealing with heading into the weekend. Cooler temperatures start to arrive by Sunday, but still seeing some record highs from Wisconsin down here into central Illinois, or what you call the Illinois Valley. So upper 80s will still be possible on Sunday. Low temperatures, pretty mild as we start the day on Friday into the 50s and 60s across the middle of the country. Obviously, the urban heat island like Minneapolis or Des Moines going to be naturally a little bit warmer, so we're going to see lows by Saturday morning near 70 degrees up there into Minneapolis, and the warmest low is Sunday morning at 72 degrees in October, right? That is almost unheard of, and that's why we're going to be seeing record warm low temperatures even, and also record warm high temperatures too. So it's going to be a mild weekend, I do feel, across the middle of the country. For today, we're not going to be seeing a lot of thunderstorm activity across the United States, but as we go into tomorrow on Friday, there's going to be a chance for some stronger thunderstorms across the Rockies. As you have the topography over there, a lot of this is going to be wind and hail driven across the Rockies. And then as we go into Saturday to open the weekend on October 4th, we have that isolated threat for severe weather from northwest Minnesota into the eastern Dakotas and down there into Nebraska as well. Again, mainly a wind and hail threat. The tornado risk should remain fairly low. Like we always do, let's start in the east. We'll go to the central U.S. after that. And then third, we'll go to the western U.S. Here today into the eastern United States, we're going to be seeing a mix of clouds and sunshine from the Ohio Valley up into the northeast. Plenty of sunshine with wall-to-wall sunshine expected for the southeast. And then as we go into the overnight hours, we're going to see more cloud cover. I would say a mostly cloudy sky over spreading areas from Pennsylvania up into New York State and then over there towards Maine overnight. And then as we start the day on Friday, we're going to see quite a bit of cloud cover for the I-95 corridor, Boston, Hartford, down to New York City, and even down into Baltimore. But then as we go into the afternoon, we're going to progressively peel away those clouds and see that northwesterly flow open up, which is a cooler flow. But we're also going to be seeing a lot more sunshine across the northeast going into Friday afternoon. And then in vice versa, we're going to be seeing sunshine today in the southeast. We're going to see an increase in cloud cover in the southeast as we go into the day on Friday. Maybe some sprinkles or showers the further south and east you go towards southern Georgia and into Florida. Into the central U.S., plenty of sunshine to go around here into the plains, all the way from Texas to North Dakota, and we're going to see a mix of sun and clouds more over there toward Illinois and Indiana as we go through the day today. And then going into overnight, we're going to see an increase in cloud cover across portions of the Dakotas and Minnesota. So we're going to go from mostly clear skies to partly cloudy skies as we start the day on Friday up there. And then going through the day, we're going to see a mix of sun and clouds from the Dakotas into Minnesota and Wisconsin. Sunshine the further south you go, wall-to-wall sunshine here expected on Friday for most of the central, southern plains, and the mid-Mississippi Valley, and that will help warm our temperatures up. And then looking here across the west, we're seeing lots of cloud cover, overcast skies today for the Pacific Northwest. Will give way to chances for showers and storms. Some of these could produce some locally heavy downpours. And then in the higher elevations of Idaho, we could actually be seeing some snowfall where the colder temperatures reside, or the higher elevations in the Rockies. And then as we go through the day on Friday, some of that moisture will pivot eastward here into areas of Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, and New Mexico, with sunshine down there prevailing into areas like San Diego, Vegas, and Phoenix, seeing lots of sunshine and warmer temperatures for the desert Southwest. Rainfall amounts going through 7 a.m. on Monday, October 6th, could potentially be seeing over an inch of rain from the provinces of Ontario and southeastern Quebec, Canada, down into the United States of the Dakotas, into Wyoming, Montana, and then trickling further out toward the west coast. Drier trends from the southern plains into the eastern U.S. as we go through the week ahead, and that is going to increase our drought little by little every single day, and that is what we've been seeing of late, dry weather, and we're going to continue to see that this week. So again, the drought will continue to increase in intensity. Snowfall into the higher elevations of the Rockies, especially for northwestern Wyoming, southern Montana, could be seeing a couple areas up to 18 inches of snow. That would equate to 1.5 feet through your 7 a.m. time frame on Monday, October 6th. In the higher elevations, lower elevation snow is still too warm for that right now. Heading in towards next work week, Monday, October 6th through Friday, October 10th, big ridge of high pressure builds across the central and eastern U.S. will promote warmer conditions continuing into the second week of October, although a trough will be coming in across the immediate west coast, and that will bring us some cooler temperatures. But you can see the central, the eastern United States, much of southeastern Canada, going to be warmer than normal, at least a little bit, by a handful of degrees as we go into next week. Although we're going to introduce a little bit more precipitation into the forecast as we go throughout the week next week, especially the later in the week we get for the eastern U.S. So areas that have been dry could actually get some beneficial moisture and much needed rain as we go through later next week, especially Wednesday and beyond. And you can see advertised by the European model, some decent rains across the Midwest, the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic up into the Northeast. And our friends in Quebec, Canada, into eastern Canada could also be seeing that as well. A couple inches of rainfall there. Still pretty dry, though, in the southern plains, according to the European model. A lot of this moisture is recurving off our hurricane that's going to be developing that we'll be talking about in the East Pacific. GFS model, a little bit cut off of moisture further north, but it's a little bit further south of a track. So the difference in the models right now is the overall track of the recurvature of this system. Does it go further north? Does it go further south? We do have the rainfall amounts are pretty certain that to be around an inch or two. So it's not going to be too significant, but it's also not going to be too little. So we're going to see some much needed rainfall across the Ohio Valley. Let's talk about the East Pacific and the recurvature of this system. Now, Tropical Storm Octave is going to be kind of winding down over the next few days, but there is a 90% chance of a tropical system developing just off the west coast of Mexico, and this is going to be recurving up into the desert Southwest and eventually giving us moisture that we were just talking about into the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast. So let's see how this will work. And you can see this system is going to start to develop a little bit more organized as we go into the weekend for Saturday and Sunday, and then become likely a hurricane or at least a strong tropical storm once we get into Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday. So October 6th, 7th, and 8th early next week. And then once that moves into the Baja, it's going to push a lot of moisture into Southern California, up toward Vegas, up into areas of Arizona. So Tucson, Flagstaff, even into Phoenix, we could potentially be seeing some heavier moisture overspreading you by Thursday and Friday, the 9th and 10th of October, as we go into next week. And eventually that moisture will have a trajectory further east off the screen here into the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. So that is important as well. Let's look here at the Atlantic. We did have Humberto. We did have Imelda. The remnants of Imelda are just to the east of Bermuda. Two areas of at least low concern right now for tropical development. One over the peninsula of Florida has a 10% chance of developing. One in the main development region with a wave coming off the coast of Africa That has a 20% chance of development, and that's heading westward toward the Leeward Islands here over the next few days. Ensemble members are showing this developing into a stronger tropical wave coming off the Cape Verde Islands there of Africa as we go into the middle of next week for Tuesday and Wednesday, which is October 7th and 8th, and then approaching areas near the Leeward Islands once we get to around this time next week on Thursday, October 9th, and into Friday, October 10th. So we're still around a week away from the system really impacting anybody here near the Leeward Islands. But it is something to keep an eye on. The key trends here, also watching some lowering of the pressure with higher pressure into the eastern U.S. that lowers the pressure underneath for the peninsula of Florida, and that's where we could be seeing some tropical activity there as well, closer to home as we go towards next weekend. So those are the key trends to watch. The GFS ensemble guidance is very much in agreement with the European ensembles, showing that strong tropical wave coming off the Cape Verde Islands, moving westbound through the main development region, or what you call the MDR, and then in towards the Leeward Islands as we get to around this time next week. Also, not really seeing a lot of lowering of pressure on the GFS ensemble compared to the European ensemble for lowering of the pressure near Florida, but we'll keep an eye on those trends. Again, it only has a 10% chance right now, but again, we'll keep an eye on it moving forward. Thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy today's weather forecast, I encourage you to like the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. Those two things, liking it and sharing it, helps to get more and more people involved in the weather and informed on the weather forecast moving forward. I definitely appreciate the support. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel. So if you like these detailed, accurate, informative, life-saving weather updates, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel down below. Turn on the bell notification to all so you get all my videos and live streams here and get notified for those in future days. So that's what we're going to be looking at here. That's all the weather that I have to talk about. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Have a wonderful and safe rest of your Thursday out there.